Hi there, James Galyon here, and another little thing in my Minor Miracles series. This is telling about the miracles, the testimonies, the blessings, the things that have just happened uh, throughout my life, and just want to share it with you. This is something that I really believe. I believe God speaks to us. He don't yell at us. He just says, "Here's the information. Now, what are you going to do with it?" But I look at like this the way God looks at us. And I give people an example because a lot of people I talk to don't have belief in God. They have no faith. Well, that's your choice. God gave us a choice. If he didn't give us a choice, we'd be a bunch of stinking robots down here all going, all praise to thee, Holy Father, all praise to thee. What good is that? Who wants to be worshipped and thanked by a bunch of robots? So God gave us a choice of being for or against him. But I kind of look at it like this. Think of it this way. One day God and his son were sitting out on the front lawn of heaven. Nice green grass, all nice and cool, sitting out there in their lawn chairs and having a nice cool iced tea, just taking it easy. And you're out there in the street of life, running around going, I'm in control. I can do what I want to do. I like it out here. I got the freedom and the open space, and I can run as fast as I want to, and I can run back and forth in this street. Nobody going to tell me what to do. I'd ignore them two old dudes over there. Man, they ain't going to bother me. Just leave me alone. And ever so often, there's this guy named the devil. And he's got this Mack truck. And he's driving down that street. And his whole job in life is to kill you so you can turn and make a decision to believe in Jesus. He wants you dead. He wants your chance to get to heaven cut off. Because he's ticked off because he got kicked out of heaven. Well, you're out here playing in the street of life like a fool. Going, I'll do what I want to do. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. And here comes the devil in that Mack truck. And you're out there with a whole bunch of other people doing the same thing and thinking, hey, I'm in this crowd. Nobody's going to get me. And God looks at the son and he goes, son, I care about that person right there. Yeah, I care about them all, but I care about that one guy right there. If he was the only one there, I'd ask you to do the same thing. He says, son, he said, go out and save him. And Jesus, being obedient to his Father, immediately jumps up out of the lawn chair and runs out there in the street, and at the last second knocks you out of the way of that devil and saves your life. And the devil, though, he don't care. Oh, hey, I got the best target in the world. Smash. And runs over Jesus and kills him, crushes him right there in the road. Now, here's the thing. If somebody pushed you out of the way of an oncoming truck and was killed, would you turn around and look at them and go, you stupid fool? Look at you all mangled up there, man. What kind of idiot are you? Or are you going to turn around and go, wow, I don't even know him. But he apparently knew me and cared enough to do that for me. He was obedient to what he believed needed to be done. And that one thing was what the Father said, go and save that guy. Give him a chance. Give him a chance to learn about me and save me and save you. Jesus did that for you. I didn't just suddenly overnight start believing in Jesus and jumping up and over pews and going, glory, hallelujah, and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't do all that right now. I pray, I talk to God just like I'm talking to you. But over the years, the things that I've seen have basically bolstered, they've given proof and strength to what I've been taught. You can say, well, the Bible's just a bunch of stories and stuff. Well, there's history books that say that George Washington crossed the Delaware. He fought the British. You didn't see any of that happen either. Just a bunch of people wrote it down. Well, a bunch of people wrote it down in the book too. It was called the Bible. So why believe that any less than anything else? Now, these sound like some pretty miraculous things happening here, So I start reading the proof behind these things, the reasoning they happened. They made sense to me, in my heart, in my head, So You know, your choice, though, is that are you going to turn around and look at Jesus lying there in the street, all crushed out, and go, stupid fool, look at you all mangle there, man, you're not an idiot to run out the street like that? Or are you going to turn around and say, wow, he cared enough to die for me and do it in a horrible way. He died. He knew he was going to be killed to save me. He knew that. He cared enough to do that. Are you going to spit on him? Or are you going to say, I appreciate it? Because remember, the Father is over there on the other side of the street watching your reaction. And why on earth would he want you in his heaven if you're going to spit on his son after his son gave his life for you? Think about it. You know, the whole problem is people get onto this thing about, ooh, why would a loving God send you to hell? Let me tell you something. The reason the devil isn't up there is because he sinned against God. He got kicked out of heaven because he thought he was better than God. Sin separates us from God. It puts a barrier. And at that point, when we're down here and we don't believe in God and we don't want to appreciate what his son did on the cross for us, then why does God want you into his perfect heaven? You're not made perfect. The only way we're going to be made, quote, perfect, we're not perfect people. But the only way God is going to overlook what we've done is for us to appreciate what he did by sending his son and what his son faithfully did. Now, the neat thing about this whole thing is when the devil ran over Jesus with that Mack truck, he's like, yeah, I got him. Oh, yeah, you're going down, boy. You crushed. I've got rid of you for sure. It didn't happen that way because there are thousands of witnesses in the Bible that saw Jesus 3 days later. He came back from death. He rose from the dead. I mean, that's a pretty big thing to happen when you've been hung on a cross. I think it was like 6 hours with nails driven spikes. These are like railroad spikes, are just about driven through the tops of your feet, and they've been overlapped and they've been used a sledgehammer. I'm sure they didn't have missed it a few times, you know, on the way of driving this thing through his feet and through his wrist. Put stakes and staked him out on a big old wooden board. And they even mocked him. They stuck a big old crown of these thorns. These thorns were massive old long suckers. These were razor sharp, man. And crammed it down on his head. You know, everything to make a fool of it, you know. But he did die. And in that death, he took on everything we ever did wrong. Everything we will ever do wrong. The thing is you have to decide to have just that little bit of faith to go get in that truck and drive down the road and say, you know, I feel like something about this is right, and I'm going to give it a shot. You know, I'm going to give God half a chance to prove himself to me. And that's all he's asking. Because once you start that way, he will show you one piece at a time, one binder at a time. He will show you each piece at a time that he is real. And I absolutely know God is real. And I know what he did for me. Well, he can do for you. So, you know, the devil didn't win because Jesus got up out of that street and rose again 3 days later. He got up and he beat the devil, you know. So I thought I'd share that with you. You know, that's one of the stories that I tell ever so often to people. But like I said, God gave you the choice. You can ignore him. You don't have to. But he's not sending you to hell. He's snatching you from it. And whether you believe hell is a bunch of brimstone and fire or just a bunch of nothingness, I can tell you one thing, it isn't. It ain't good. Because all the goodness is in heaven. And all the absence of goodness is in hell. Or put it this way, you won't be where the good is. And I want to be where the good is. Whether it's up there strumming a little harp or playing a guitar or just running around in a field of grass. I mean, heaven to me would be something, I would think of it as something like a forest with trees and animals and stuff. I love to be outdoors. But whatever it is, God's been working on it for a long time, and I know it's going to be perfect. So if you want to experience that someday, He's not asking you to get all religious. He's only asking you to have a little bit of faith in him and what he did for you. Now, if you truly take that step in believing what Christ did for you on the cross and that he rose again, if you just take it and say, okay, I'm just gonna step out in faith and believe it to start with here. Now you're gonna have to start enforcing this, God, to show me. If you just take that little bit of faith, he will fill your heart with the truth and you'll understand that it is true. So this is once again another little series of my Minor Miracle series. I hope you're enjoying them. I'm sure there's people out there be making all kind of evil notes on my stuff here that may not like some of these things I'm saying. Well, it's still a free country. You have the right. That's the neat thing. God has given you the choice to believe what you want to believe. If you don't want to believe him, that's your choice. But I wouldn't be taking the time to tell this if I didn't believe it with all my heart. And I don't believe things just because someone says them. I believe it because I've seen the evidence, the preponderance of evidence. That's what they ask for in trials. You take all the evidence, you put it together, and it strengthens your case. And the case is very strong for what I believe. And I believe that Christ Jesus died for me on the cross and rose again 3 days later and made a way for me to be forgiven just by believing that. And because, by the way, because I believe that, I want to make an attempt to live a life that is pleasing God. Something, he gave us these 10 commandments, don't steal, don't kill, don't go screwing around on your wife, he wants us to worship him, don't lie. I mean, these are all good things. And there's nothing that's people think it's going to crimp your style. But you know something? It'll improve your style. I guarantee you. Right now, I write this. I'm really enjoying doing this, right? Because right now, we are dead poor. I got no money to pay my light bill. Barely a little money for food. But this is the neat thing about it. My faith sustains us. And it's not like I go and get a cup of faith and eat it with my ramen noodles, But every day is a new day. Tomorrow is just another miracle waiting to happen. And you just wait and see, because God will provide. He will provide. He'll work with us whether we want to do work with him or not, But he can do so much more with us if we're working to go the same direction that he's kind of nudging us. He's not going to shove his heart, but he'll get us there. I appreciate your time listening to this, and thank you for listening to my another little segment of Minor Miracles. There'll be a lot more coming. God bless you.